Hi! Today on Mama Cooks Love, we're going to make something really dear to my heart and to my baby girl's heart. It has a yummy crunchy top. It's buttery, it's comforting, it hugs you from the inside out. Baked mac and cheese. My daughter Bella has been asking me for a while to make her favorite baked mac and cheese so other mamas can cook it for their children. She really loves it. It's easy to put together. It takes few ingredients and the taste is amazing. The leftovers are uber delicious and cheesy. It's delicious on a barbecue day or on a cold winter day. It is always delicious and it's always a crowd pleaser. So let's make some mac and cheese, shall we? To make Mama Cooks Love baked macaroni and cheese, we're gonna need a pound of your favorite pasta. I like to use cavatelli because you see those guys? Sauce gets trapped in there. My Bella loves that. She actually chose the pasta for today. We're also gonna need half a gallon of milk, about half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of panko breadcrumbs, between a 1/4 cup and a 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour, half a stick of butter, a tablespoon of salt, and right here for the yummy flavorings, I have a 1/4 teaspoon of smoked Spanish paprika. I also have half a teaspoon of celery salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground mustard. For the cheeses, I like to keep it classic, kiddo classic. So I have a pound of cheddar cheese and half a pound of Colby cheese. I'm using extra sharp cheddar. Colby makes it super yummy and creamy, and the cheddar, of course, the king of all kiddo cheeses, keeps it nice and delicious and creamy and ooey gooey. And so to start with, I am gonna turn on my oven to 400 degrees and I have a pot of water. And as soon as the water boils, we're gonna add about 4 to 5 tablespoons of salt because you do want your pasta cooking water as salty as the ocean. And we'll go from there. So I turned on my pot for my pasta water. I'm gonna shred the cheese, and as soon as the cheese is shredded, we're gonna start making our bechamel. All right, 1.5 pounds of cheese have been grated. And as I said before, we have a pound of extra sharp cheddar cheese and half a pound of Colby cheese. They are yellow and pretty, just the way my daughter wants it. Mommy, I love your yellow baked mac and cheese. All right, let's make yellow baked mac and cheese on Mama Cooks Love. Pasta water is boiling. We're gonna do 3 big pinches of salt. Big into the pot. And cooking time is 6 minutes al dente. So I'm gonna set it up 6 minutes and we'll see it in 6. Let's make some bechamel for our mac and cheese. Okay, so I have half stick of butter here. I'm gonna leave some of it to use with the panko breadcrumbs and to butter the mac and cheese pan. I have 1/3 of a cup of flour, all-purpose flour. And what we're looking for right here is a very light blonde color on the roux before we add the milk. The more we cook the flour, the less it thickens. So a dark roux usually would need more flour. Now when I add my milk, I like to add a little bit more milk at a time and get rid of all the clumps. And then I'll add a little bit more milk. And that way, you'll always end up with a smooth bechamel. Pasta is boiling. And when my bechamel feels smooth and that the milk is incorporated with the butter flour mixture or with my roux mixture, I will add the rest of my milk and I will season. It already looks delicious and smooth. Now I'm gonna add my seasoning and my teaspoon of salt, some black pepper. I always like to use freshly ground black pepper. It tastes nuttier and more delicious. Even though it's more subtle, it still tastes present without it being overly powering. What I'm going for here is a very thin bechamel. And the cheese is gonna make it nice and thick and creamy. All right, pasta is cooked. Let's taste it. It's a good idea always to taste the doneness before you drain it. Perfect. We're ready to be drained. All right. So it's been about 12 minutes. Bechamel is about to start boiling and thickening. I already tasted it for seasonings. It tastes really good. As soon as it boils, we'll add the cheese. One thing you want to make sure is that the cheese does not get boiling and bubbling, because the fat in the cheese will separate and it becomes very chewy and stringy. And you want a creamy, velvety sauce. We're getting there. But I do have to say it's very therapeutic to keep stirring and smelling. It really smells nice. I prefer to keep stirring it so I don't get that stuck to the bottom flour flavor. It really tastes good already. So now it's boiling. I'm gonna turn it down and let it cook for a few minutes. And then we'll add the cheese. As soon as the cheese melts, we'll turn it off. And once we add the cheese, if it needs any more seasoning, we can readjust the seasoning. So what we're looking for here is when we taste it, not to taste that raw flour taste. Getting there. So now, after I lowered the heat, I switched to my wooden spoon and we're gonna start adding the cheese and stirring and melting. We do not want the cheese to boil. And I'm gonna reserve some cheese to put on the top. So I'm reserving about 2 cups of the cheese to put on the top. My daughter really loves a thin sauce mac and cheese. She doesn't like it when it's all clumpy. She likes it ooey gooey cheesy. Oh my goodness, this looks amazing. It's like a pot of gold. All right, I'm turning off the heat. It's already melted. Let me taste it for you. Oh, it tastes so good. I can eat that by the gallon. It tastes so amazing. So here's my pasta. Sauce is done. Oven is heating up at 400. And we are about to assemble some mac and cheese. I like to generously butter my dish, and that prevents the mac and cheese from sticking when we're trying to serve it. And then I like to put a little bit of breadcrumbs at the bottom. That makes it super delicious and yummy and crunchy. So you have that really double crunch factor, top and bottom. You'll be everyone's favorite at that potluck. Panko breadcrumbs in. Think about it as when you bake a cake and you do the flour with the butter. Here's my mac and cheese. I'm gonna mix some sauce with it. The sauce is still delicious and creamy and velvety. It's like cotton clouds. Yummy. And you do want to be generous with the sauce, because nothing worse than dry mac and cheese. Alrighty. Now it looks good. This is what I'm talking about. You want to see it swimming in the sauce. Alrighty. Let's see. And here we go. It smells amazing. We want to make sure we get evenly distributed sauce to mac and cheese. All right, I have some sauce left over. I'm gonna use it on the top. And now, I like to go between panko and cheese and butter. And now more panko. Trust me, it's gonna be so delicious and crunchy and ooey gooey cheesy. Everyone is gonna ask you about your recipe. And a couple of dots of butter, and then into a preheated oven, 400 degrees for, I want to say between 35 to 45 minutes, depending on the time it takes it to bubble and all that really yummy panko to get nice and golden brown delicious. I have learned over the years that cheesy, ooey gooey things tend to bubble over, and that's part of their magic, but I don't like to clean it up. So the easiest way is pre-plan for the ooey gooey mess. So I love to line up my baking sheet with some tin foil. I will taste this yummy mac and cheese for you in 35 to 45 minutes. It's been a little bit over 45 minutes. Mac and cheese is done. It's ooey gooey bubbly. The whole house smells of cheese, butter, comfort. I don't know how to describe it. Let's get that. Mac and cheese is out of the oven. And now for the moment of truth, for the ooey gooey taste test. So good. Okay, the smell is amazing. Look at that. See all that extra sauce that we poured on top? Perfect, because nobody wants a dry mac and cheese. I can't wait for you to try it. And now I'm gonna try it for you. I'm a little bit scared, it's so hot. So good. Delicious, cheesy, crunchy. Look at that. So good. See that? Let me know how you like it. Hit like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comment. Love, light, and blessings from Mama Cooks Love.